It's a grand final day, I reckon, because Port Adelaide have hit in very hard and they've made the best start against the Breeze. They'll have the enjoyment, if you like, the benefit of using it in the second term. They're just 3 points down. A very colourful day here, as you'd expect, on the 96 grand final. Nobody's more colourful than Stephen Wright's coach, Kerry.
Here we are in the Bulldogs Players and Wives pre-match luncheon. Let's go in and see what they're doing. Kerry Wright. This is the coach's wife. Kerry, you look fantastic. What have you done?
Oh, everything. You're not supposed to be here. This is our party.
Now, what have you done with all the girls?
Oh, all the girls have got Guernseys.
Girls, tune in. Now these are all the players' wives and girlfriends.
Girlfriends, yes.
Now, what have you done to them?
Well, differing degrees. This is Sarah, Monique, Tash, Joe, Jackie, Rosie, Sarah, Kathy. Now, hang on. Amanda's hiding. Amanda, come out here. Amanda, Adrian, and Carol, and Joanne Wacker down the back.
What about this little guy right down here? This is a mini Tater. This is Scotty Lee's son. Now, girls, tell us, you confident your boys can win today?
Yeah, pretty confident.
Okay, now how hard are we celebrating today?
Oh, harder than the boys will be. They'll be out there doing all the hard work. We're in here celebrating.
Now tell me, did the coach give a no sex ban on the girls today? I mean,
yeah, we did, because he reckons he never gets it anyway, so they can go without tonight. So.
Now, what are the celebrations planned for tonight?
Drinking.
and celebrating. How did they feel last year when they lost? Is that the spur to win them, to get them through the game today?
Yeah, definitely. Ask the girls.
Yeah. Is there any chance that they can lose this one? So they're definitely going to win, you're absolutely sure and certain.
Yeah, positive, 10 days.
All right, well, I suppose we're going to propose a toast to the Bulldogs. Up the Bulldogs.
Go, you dogs!
Oh, David Mackay looked like he enjoyed that no end. 2-1, Central District 13. Port Adelaide a 1-4-10, but keep in mind that Port Adelaide had to kick into that southerly, into the Breeze in that first term. And some of the highlights included, well, they're probably lowlights, Mark Nayley, because Central had a couple go from the ground and it probably unsettled them.
It's pretty simple football out here. Port Adelaide just tacking the ball as hard as possibly they can. The Central players coming off second best at the moment. We saw 2 or 3 players come off with a bit of blood. One Port player has so far, that was Tim Geneva. All he needed was a band-aid to cover his cut.
A couple of costly misses, David. Cooks was one of them.
Yes, had he kicked that, I think just the emotion might have been riding with it. Now, at the other end, after he missed that, Hicks gets penalised for throwing the ball. Scotty Hodges gets one of his incredible goals. He just makes a habit of kicking these very difficult ones. Beautiful kick, wasn't it? We saw last week in the closing stages of a game against Norwood that he did just the same thing. We talk about misses. Well, this one was a definite miss, but wasn't even worthy of a point, despite getting one. No, I just hope that at the end of the game's not decided by a point. Now, Cook was tripped there, but fortunately, it flicked out to Cotton, who finished off. His finishing is terrific. Actually looks quite threatening, doesn't he, Cotton? Maybe a bit much pace for North East, but Paul North East has had a wonderful final series. Yes, he's beaten Cotton once, Andrew Jarman twice, and if there's a defensive player of the year for Port Adelaide so far, he'd have to give it to North East, wouldn't you? Hodges has, Hodges has one. Cotton and Vardy have a goal, just 3 so far. And as I said, Cotton looks pretty good. The statistics at the moment, see the kicks fairly even as you'd expect. The marks on top with Port Adelaide, handball's fairly similar, the free's fairly similar. And I felt during the quarter that Mead was doing better, but that tells a different story. No, I think the thing about the ruck contest, it's where the ball goes. It's not necessarily whether they get their hand to the ball, it's where it ends up with. And I think at this stage, the small men for Port Adelaide doing a little bit better. Well, they were always going to settle better. Mark Nayley is still down there. I guess that Port Adelaide would have settled better. They've got so much more experience, and they've just shown that in the first 30 minutes. I've just been out to their quarter-time break. Coach Stephen Williams, pretty simple with his strategies. There isn't a strategy. All he was saying was, just work hard, fellas. Just work as hard as you possibly can and give space for Scotty Hodges, because he'll win the game off his own boot. It's a fairly fundamental recipe, David, isn't it? Just work harder, but Port Adelaide have thrived on it for years and years. That's their recipe. They don't deviate too much, and I think the tradition continues. Foss Williams to John Cale to Stephen Williams. It's not a bad line of succession, is it? Well, we've heard from Stephen Wright already. Mark Nayley's been out to the huddle. I just wonder what Stephen Wright would do as a normal matter of routine in his quarter-time address.
At quarter time, we'll just sit back and we'll have a look at the facts and figures. How many times we've been into our forward line, how many times they've been into their forward line, the whys and hows. Then we'll sit back and say, all right, all the emotions over and done with. Now we just have to stick to our game plan.
Green there, Roger Girdham, McGowan, Girdham and Cook, the heartbeat of the centre.